Hey guys, welcome to the live stream. This Saturday we were working on John and Susan's van, and today we're going to be filling up the tank for the second time to do a second leak check because we replaced some fittings in the front near the water heater, and then we also had to, we're redoing the panels in the back right corner, which I'll show you guys. We'll hop in the van here, there we go, in just a second. And go through that, but this video is also going to serve for John and Susan as like a how-to video on what to look for when they're filling the tank up and also draining the tank. So you can go back, reference this video if you need to double check anything or troubleshoot anything in the future. So let's go back here. So what we have is we've got a Northwest Conversions 36-gallon over-the-wheel well tank. What's nice about this tank is when you do an over-the-wheel well, there's a space inside that it's like a cavity that the wheel goes up into, and that way you can really maximize your space in the van. Now this fit was extremely tight. Pretty much all the vans that I do, everything is just really a tight fit, and that's just to maximize space. You'll see that the water lines are up here on top of this frame. And I think this is a great example of a DIY water tank enclosure. Typically I do 80-20, but for this one we went with wood, so everything in here is a wood build as far as structure goes. And I think this is a great option if you are going this direction. 80-20 actually is heavy, despite it being aluminum, and this 2x4 construction is actually very light. Now, what's challenging about the 2x4 construction is, as much as you go to the store and you look down the piece of wood and you want to make sure it's straight, it's very challenging to get something that is not slightly bowed or out of square. So there's a lot of nuances that go into squaring this up so that when you put your finished panels on, it looks nice and professional. So that's where a lot of the time kind of went into building this. You can kind of see that this is inset a little bit because I've shimmed this out and then made sure that this face is straight. Now, basically what I've done is I've taken just a piece of wood right here, and then I use this as my square reference so that I can put this up here, and then I kind of dial in the top, the side, and then this enclosure panel over here, and just make sure that everything is as straight as can be. In the end, what you have to do is actually scribe this back piece because this might be tilted out just a little bit. So that's a little bit about the pros and cons if you're going this direction. Also, you need to keep in mind that you need to build structure into your water enclosure if you're doing this kind of wood construction. The structure is so that you can actually bolt your water pump in a place where you can actually access it. So you need to be able to undo this pump easily and unbolt it to change it if it ever burns out in the future. Also, the second part is you need to be able to clean the strainer. So the strainer needs to be cleaned. I would check it, maybe once a year or maybe once every 6 months. It really just depends on this part right here. So what we have for our water fill today, this is the Taste Pure KDF Carbon RV water filter. So this is a carbon filter, and so this is going to allow you to filter, now this does not kill germs and stuff like that. This is basically, it's a taste improver, so that carbon filter, and then it also is to filter any type of like fine particles from getting into your water pump. So you're going to want to if you're doing something from a hose, so city water from your house, this is what's coming out of your faucet of your house. This is just kind of improving how the water tastes and getting just any like little fine particles, like, say you're using your hose and maybe you have some grit or something like that. There is a screen at the front of this. Then you have whatever media they use. You do need to hook this up to a hose and flush it, because there's that black fine carbon dust that's in here, and so when you first turn this on, it's going to look like black water just for a minute. That's just the carbon being flushed out, just like a Brita filter or something like that if you've used in the past that had a carbon filter. So you need to flush it out. It does have a screen here, and then the Aquor side that we're using for our Quick Connect, it also has a metal screen. So you're going to have those two protections in this middle one before going in. And then your last line of defense for the water pump, we're really protecting the water pump. That fine mesh strainer is what's going to get whatever passed through this when you're filling your tank up. And that's just going to help extend the life of your water pump. Now for actual filtering your water, we do have a water drop filter in the kitchen galley area. So that water drop filter, that is for your drinking water, and that's on the cold side. And just keep in mind, this is probably going to drip with your water hose. I mean, I've got this kind of tight, but this is really like my water hose thing that's dripping. So even though we got the lawn seal and all that stuff, and that's waterproof, you're going to want to make sure that you put down just a towel just to keep everything from getting wet. This is okay to get wet like in an emergency if it's raining outside or something, but you don't want to get this stuff wet. Now the tray here, this is all sealed. So this tray, you might have some drips when you do the wash down. We'll talk about that in a second. But pretty much if you have a little microfiber towel like this, that's really all you need. So what you're going to want to do is just put it here when you insert this to fill the tank up. There'll just be maybe like a teaspoon of water that comes out when it reseals. So you just need to wipe it off, and then you can put this there. But this will not leak when you're driving. This has a spring-loaded recessed gasket. So the spring comes out like this. And the Aquor is a very high-end component. I think this is about $80 for this interface. And then the washdown is Aquor as well. Same thing, very high quality. And then for our valve right here, I think this is Italian made, this little valve right here. So really nice high-end components. And then we got the really high-end PEX A. I got my phone over here, so I'm not sure if anybody is asking questions. Okay. Yeah, I didn't charge my phone yesterday, so it's charging right now. So hopefully audio and everything is good. I'll just do a quick double check. So really nice. Okay. So besides filling this all up, this is also going to be a how-to video at the end, because we've finished all of our panels. So all of our painted panels had their final finish on there. So we'll put the top, the side, and the back piece on. So again, this video is for John and Susan just to see how their water system works, and they can reference this video in the future if they need to. So we have, there's a couple places we're going to check. The system, as far as the tank and all the fittings, I've already filled this up and did a test. Today we're going to do the final fill. We're going to fill this up halfway, and we're just going to leave it that way until delivery day for John and Susan. And that way we'll make sure that, no leaks form over the next couple of days type of thing. But so far so good on the tank. There's a rear port in the back here. That is the drain. Back here I have it's an emergency cutoff. So in the event that, actually let me go see if I can find the fitting. So what I installed for these guys is it's essentially just like a water hose connection. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see, plumbing parts. Have to go to the plumbing section of the shop. One of my friends came over and they said, man, it's like you have your own Lowe's. It looks like that, but as much as I go to Lowe's, not everything's here at the shop, but I do have a lot of stuff. It does look like I have a hardware store. So this is a PEX A fitting. So this will be the very last thing I do. It's raining and nasty outside, so I got the van back inside. But this is gonna go, there's a drain pipe right here that drains the tank, and there's a valve. So this valve is gonna always stay open, you know, while this panel is on. In the event, let's just say John and Susan, at their house or a friend's house, and they hook a hose up here to drain their tank. If they forget, the hose is connected and they drive off, and then this rips off of the van, they can still take this panel off and go in here and do this manual shut-off valve so they can continue the trip or until they can get it repaired. So this is the first drain, and then inside this is just a secondary drain just as a backup. And if this failed while you were on a trip, you could open this panel and then use this valve as a backup. So it's just good to have redundancy. I've also installed 2 cutoff valves in the kitchen galley, so in case one of the if the sink hose breaks or fails, they can shut that off and then still use the rear shower spray down to wash and clean things until the front can get repaired. So a couple bits of redundancy. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the hot water heater. So I replaced a hose on the hot water heater. The first 2 fittings that I used, they were this style fitting, so it was like a 90 screw-on. And the Bosch water tank has a 2 steel pipes. Those steel pipes are plastic lined on the inside. And on the cold water side, that plastic lining was recessed about probably 2 or 3 millimeters inside, or like, you know, about 1/16 of an inch. But on the hot water side, it was level. It was not recessed. So I believe that's the root cause of that. Now, it's brand new, nothing's wrong with it. I upgraded to a faucet style clamp, and it has a nice chunky piece of rubber. That chunky rubber sealed it completely, and today we're going to do the secondary check. So that's our main thing we want to check for, and the only other thing I changed during the first test of the system and today is I took these 2 fittings off and I reconnected them. So these 2 fittings have their own O-ring inside, and that was to install this top part. So this top part does not move, just like this part does not move. This is a fixed piece. In the event that this breaks, they can bring it to me and I can still disconnect this, take these screws out and remove it. So everything that I do that I would need to access, I plan ahead of time to make sure that I can actually fix it in the future. Now with this switch, that's a different story. This wood is thicker than this switch. So this switch is actually epoxied in. So this is epoxied in. This is a waterproof switch. However, if it ever failed in the future, there's 2 things we could do. One, the wiring in here, I can simply just unplug this wire, and then the sink will still function. This is just a backup. So this, I put this in here as a secondary option to where, say something happened and water was spraying out and they couldn't get inside the van because they shut the door. They could just quickly go here and turn the pump off. So this is just a simple secondary switch. During operation, this switch will always be closed. You don't want to if you keep it open, then the sink in the kitchen galley won't work. So you always want to keep this button depressed. Now, when you're using the van, you can use the kitchen galley on, off, on, off. When you turn it on, this obviously will work back here. This is just for an emergency to where if you can't get to the sink button in time, you can just disconnect it here. So we get redundancy on this, so that if this fails, we can rewire it on the inside, but this is epoxied in, so I would have to cut this out to replace it. But those are very good switches that I get. They're very chunky, they're waterproof, the cable connections are awesome. So moving down the wiring, we got our wiring all nice and neat right here, so we have access in our access panel to the wiring, and that way we can do any type of maintenance we need to. So this is the maintenance area. This line is fixed in here, but we've already tested this one. But yeah, we're going to fill this up and just start to check out the system. First thing we're going to do is just quickly check to see if we have any questions in the chat. All right, so now we're going to go back. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. You guys can get a better view of this. And we're going to fill the tank up. Get my camera working with me. There we go. Now again, this is at the same level as the input. So technically, this can gravity feed. So if you have this connector right here, and you put it in the up position, technically you can open this up and gravity fill it with a funnel. But really, this Aquor system it's really designed to have city water pressure when you're filling the tank up. And I think it would be a rare case that you would need to gravity fill this tank, especially for John and Susan's use case. It is possible, but the primary way of filling this is with city water, like hose pressure. Now we have our pressure coming in here. At the back of the tank, we have our vent line that comes over, down, and across. And that vent line goes right down through here. It's this red hose, comes around, and then we have our braided line so that we can flex it and come across. That's our vent. So as the pressure comes in, it's displacing the air in the tank, goes out the vent, and then that air gets out of the tank and the water comes into the tank. So you really need to make sure that ventilation is good to go. Now when you're putting this Aquor in, you can see how it's kind of awkward to put this over here. So you just need to figure out a way to kind of get this twisted in. The problem is when you come like this. Let's see, I'm going to actually, let me see if I can clamp this down a little bit more. So the Aquor system is really, it's meant to be a faucet outside of your house, like on the siding of the brick side of your house. So they're expecting to have room to use it. But for us, we're doing it a little bit different. Okay, so I just cranked down on that. Let's see here. Yeah, I think that's better. So what I've been doing is I kind of have this vertical, and then I come in here, and this is really nice. You see we got double seals. So that way it seals twice as it goes in, and it really tries to, they really try to minimize your, if you have any type of leaks or something like that. Now we're going to open this door just a little bit more. So we can get to this. Now you see none of this is leaking. It's just the, it's just right here at the front. It's my water hose, so it's not the system. And I'm just gonna, let's see here. It's better if you don't use a chunky hose like this. This is a super heavy duty hose that I'm using. Like a nice flexible hose, one that accordion style, that'd be better. But now we have this installed here. It's just a twist connect, and then we have our valve. And so we're just going to take it easy, just in case we didn't make our connections. And then we're just going to back this off. And you can hear our tank is filling up. So while the tank is filling up, I'm going to make sure that our drain valve is set right. So underneath the van, I'm just draining it just to make sure. You do want to take an air compressor or a leaf blower and blow out the tank before you install it. I did that. The second thing you want to do is do like a first flush. So I'm just flushing out, any type of plastic that might be in there. So now we've got the tank level. That's why city water's nice. It fills the tank up so fast. So we've got about 2.5, maybe 3 inches of water. So I'm going to cut this off. I'm going to go inside the van. And we have 2 places that we want to check. There's only 2 locations in the bottom of the tank that would be leaking. It would be the front bottom and the rear bottom. And so, we're just putting our finger here. Everything's good to go. And then the back one, same thing. We're just doing the visual, and we're good. So we're going to let this thing fill up. While this thing is filling up, we can actually do, let's see, we're going to fill this up, probably filled up about 6 inches. Let's just do, okay, that's enough. So act like we fill the whole tank up. I'm going to do that off camera. But now what we're going to do is, the second step is we're going to purge the air from all the lines. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go up to the kitchen sink, and we're going to open the faucet. So we can let the air out. We're just going to come up here and we're going to open the faucet, and we're going to open it and do hot side and then cold side, and we're just purging the air. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn the water pump on. We have a button at the sink, so we're just going to turn that on. And now the water is starting to pump. Okay, so that's one side. The next thing we're going to do is come back. You see how I use the switch in the back of the van to actually cut it off. So we did one side, and now we're going to switch this over to the other side. Okay. And then, so we did hot side, the cold side. So we purged the air out. The first time you do this is going to take a while because there's a lot of air in the lines. We've already done a first fill, so most of the air is out. Secondly, we're going to open up our wash down. And then this is where we have this connection. So what we have here is we have an Aquor adapter fitting for the wash down, straight fitting, and then we have a double hose, like water hose connection. So that's taking a male to a female, so it's a female to female. And so you have two male ends going into this coupler. Then we have a stainless steel flexible line, and that is attached to a Scandivic shower spray down right here. So next, all we're going to do is take this right here, and we're going to insert it and twist, and that is going to go into our top up here. Then we're going to take this line. We need to go up to the sink and cut the sink off because we don't want that working. We want the back working. Because the next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we can pressurize our system. It holds pressure, and it only. Hey, come here. It's thundering outside. Nova, come here. Come here. Get over here. Okay. So next what we're going to do is we're going to turn our pump back on. We're going to leave the valve off. We're going to make sure it pressurizes and stops. Okay? Now this is the point where things will leak, if they're going to leak. So before we do this, we're just going to go through, and any changes to the piping that we have, our strainer, anything in the system. Now the tank is not under pressure, it's the lines after the pump that are under pressure. So we started with our faucet at the front. It's closed, so watch. I'm gonna open the faucet, and the pump will see the drop in pressure, and it'll turn on. And then it'll regain pressure, turn off. Same thing, we'll move it to the hot side. And then we'll move it back to cold side. Now this pump, it's on the DIY Van Build cheat sheet. It is a C-Flow pump. I really like it because you do not have to have an accumulator. You can have an accumulator, but you just saw it ramps up smoothly, it ramps down. There's no like banging of the pipes. That's really nice. Also, it can be run dry if you accidentally drain your tank, for example. Next, we're going to come to the back. So we have our valve here. So this valve is a multi-directional valve. What you have is the valve will open, and that will pressurize this. And then you're going to rotate it either left for cold or right for hot, or in the middle for hot and cold mixture. It's a really nice valve. So again, we're just looking through here, trying to make sure that we don't see any type of leak. Now when you first pressurize your water system, you may hear like a hiss. if you hear a hiss anywhere, that's a spot that's going to leak. It just hasn't, the water just hasn't reached it yet. So we're just coming through, checking everything. And I don't hear anything. We're going to go to the front of the van really quick. I'm going to check that. So we got all our valves here. They look good. The water filter looks good. Everything's pressurized. Okay. So we can say that that is good to go. Final step is this wash down. So we got a bucket right here, and we're just going to, we've got our valve open. We're going to go to the cold side first. Because remember, we still have a 2-line system before it merges into this, so we need to get the air out. So, pump shuts off. Now we're going to go to the hot side. You can see we got all of our air purged out. If it wasn't pouring down rain, you could probably hear the water pump. But here, I'll take the mic off and we'll listen to the water pump here. So as soon as you start spraying, you can hear this. So this here, how it ramps up and down. Okay. The reason you see the blue light flickering is because, you know, you're going to have a surge in current, and that LED is obviously sensitive to that drop in voltage for a second, so it's not a big deal. It's all good. Of course, you guys probably didn't even know that. So, but what's cool is that LED is what is going to allow you to see the water level. Now, before you disconnect this, what you want to do is you want to shut the valve off and then bring the hose down to the bucket or the ground and just gravity feed all of your water out of the line. And then once your water's out of the line, you're going to want to grab a rag and just kind of bring it around here and then undo this just so you don't get drips. And this didn't drip at all. So it's, again, Aqua is a very, very nice system. But we're just going to stick a rag in here and, you know, just get a little bit out. We got a little door we can close so trash doesn't get in there. And then we want to keep this valve pushed forward. The forward is off, back is on. And again, if we had a situation where we messed up and we're leaking and we need to shut it off quickly, we can just shut the whole system off from the back. I'm going to clean this up and then we're going to put the side panel on. Man, I don't know if you guys can hear that rain. It is raining like crazy. Okay, we're going to put the side panel on here and then we'll show you how the the little cutout that we made yesterday works. Hold on. Nope, come here. Okay, so this is our nice, freshly painted panel. So today we're actually going to be dialing in where we need to put the screw holes in. But you can see here on this side, let's see how I can hold this up. So for the meantime, I'm just going to tilt that just a minute. And then let's see if you guys can, I'll move the camera here. So you can see this is looking really cool. And so now this, it's going to be like that. And then this is your, this is what you'll see. So when you're not using the water system, you'll turn this off, and then this will just be dark. But then when you want to use your water system, that port's going to light up from behind, and you can actually peek in here, and you can see where your water level's at. So Nova. All right, guys, we're going to end this stream there. Come here. Yeah, I know you hate that. Come here. Big storm outside. All right, guys. We are going to we're going to end the stream there. Take care of Nova here. She hates the storm. But yeah, that's an overview of the water tank and system. The only thing that we didn't do was talk about the drainage. So actually, let's talk about that. We need to cover that in this video. Nova, you're just going to have to you're going to have to deal with the storm. Come on, come over here. Let's get this camera. That's how you know you're doing it live. You got a German Shepherd that hates the lightning. Okay, so what you're going to do to drain this system. Let's go over that real quick. This is my recommendation on draining the water system. So the first thing we want to do is, so obviously this is going to be cut off. So we're going to rotate this, keep our rag underneath there, and then just have this pulled out. And then keep the rag there because we want to, it's okay to get on the paint, but we don't want to get it on the paint. So put your rag there until it's done dripping, and you can see we're completely dry. You know, nothing crazy happened. Now this is the best way to drain this. So the best way is to actually use the pump to drain the van. So you can double dip here. You can take your drain valve, open your drain valve, and then to make the draining process quicker, go ahead and put in your line like this, and then you just want to turn your pump on, and then open your valve, and then just use the pump to actually pump all the water out of the van. And so you got a double dip. You're draining with the drain line, and you're pumping the water out. That's the fastest way to do it. And then when you're done doing that, you're just going to repeat the same process. You're going to cut the valve off, gravity drain the water, and then take it out. And that's it. Nice and easy. Okay, guys, this will be a live stream, remember, with the storm outside. So that's it. That is the A to Z of how to fill and drain the water tank for John and Susan's build. We're going to keep working. We're going to pre-drill the holes for the water tank. We're going to go ahead and install those finished panels for the last time. And that's it. The water system is finished. So then we're going to move on to the next part, working on our upper storage and our electrical box for our fuses. Not sure if we'll do another live stream today, but thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you turn on that notification bell. I go live randomly throughout the week, so don't you miss a live stream. Love to see your comments if you guys have any questions. That's pretty much it. Check out the 2 links below, the DIY van build cheat sheet, and also Odyssey Custom Vans, which is my custom van conversion business that we're doing for John and Susan. So if you guys have a question, click that link below. You can schedule a consultation with me to talk about your custom van build, and I look forward to talking to you very soon. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's live stream. We'll see you in the next one.